boys. So in this video you'll find an explanation of the lines 13 to 21. 13, it begins with the lines they sit and stare and stare and sit. Okay, so here they sit and stare and stare and sit until they're hypnotized by it, until they're absolutely drunk with all the shocking ghastly junk. Oh yes, we know it keeps them still. They don't climb out the windowsill. They never fight or kick or punch. They leave you free to cook the lunch and wash the dishes in the sink. So these particular lines, 6 lines. Now here we understand from here. Alright, so we understand that here the poet is also trying to tell us, okay, so these are not 6 lines, but then here we understand that the poet is already talking about how the television set is behaving like a babysitter for every parent here. So here when the mother or the father puts the child in front of the television set, the children lay in a sedentary position in a very lazy manner, reclining and sitting in front of the television set all day. In that position they have no outdoor work or exercise. You see, if now every household there is the same complaint of every parent that the child does not go out and play. The only playing that a child does, okay, outdoors are when the child is in the school. So however, even at home, maybe because we live in a nuclear family now, and each family might only have one child or like 2 children in the family. So there are, for those who have siblings to play with, of course that is an added it's a benefit. But for those who are a lonely child, they don't have much friends, so the only option would be to stay back home and to watch television and just sit indoors and maybe play games or something, indoor games. So here the poet is talking about how the children are seated in a sedentary position all day, in a lazy way all day. They have no outdoor work or exercise. They just go on watching the television as they are mesmerized by it, okay, as if to say that the television has hypnotized them. They do not move, do not play games or even fight with siblings or friends. This hampers the physical growth. It becomes very lopsided. As when you grow up, it has to be a full development. It should not be lopsided. Only one faculty is developed and the other faculty needs development. It should not be that. When you grow up, there should be a complete development, alright, physically and mentally. Both has to go side by side. So the poet says that this stands in the way of physical growth and health. Of course, the parents have the time. When they put the child in front of the TV, they have all the time in the world to cook food, to make lunch, and to even quickly do up the dishes that is there in the sink. But they fail to realize how their children's physical fitness is hampered, or even their brains have stopped working. The only thing that the children are doing is watching, not watching, but they are seeing, only seeing. They cannot think, they will only see. All right. So that is why there were many people, wise people, who have said that children who read become thinkers of tomorrow. All right. So it's very important that you people should read a book. Even Roald Dahl emphasizes that. He says that it is not advisable for anyone to just sit in front of the TV all day. Okay, so the next, now lines number 22 to 33. So there are 10 lines here. So, but do you ever stop to think, to wonder just exactly what this does to your beloved thought? It rots the sense in the head. It kills imagination dead. And all these he has written in capital letters, if you have seen. It clogs and clutters up the mind. It makes a child so dull and blind he can no longer understand a fantasy, a fairyland. His brain becomes soft as cheese. His power of thinking rust and freeze. He cannot think, he only sees. Now the poet, alright, he purposely writes all these in capital letters so that he can emphasize the point that the television is not good for children. So here he says, the poet asks the parents if they have ever pondered means thought about very deeply, what harm the television is causing to the beloved children. Watching the program continuously for a long time numbs their brain power and they lose the power of imagination completely. They passively, this passive activity that blocks up the imagination. Have you ever thought what damage it is going to do tomorrow? That is what the poet is trying to ask the child's parents. A child becomes dull, he becomes a dullard. He cannot differentiate between real life and real life. Yes, there's a very thin line that differentiates the two. That is why you see most of the children, even when you are trying to have a normal conversation with them, they will speak lines from their favorite cartoons, or they will speak lines from their favorite TV shows. Why? Because there is a very thin line that would differentiate, that would strike a boundary between real life and real life. They will start taking this real life, R-E-E-L, real, that is shown on the television, to be real for them. Alright, so a fantasy land, a fairy tale, power of thinking gathers rust and they stop thinking and functioning, and so in the process it becomes very soft. Their brains become very soft as cheese. His independent power of thinking gathers rust. Alright, so attuned, because why? Because the child is attuned to the visual effects that is displayed in the screen. So the child would rather watch, that is why I'm telling you in the last previous video also I told you, you'd rather want to watch the movie of Harry Potter than read a book. Why? Because the visuals are already displayed in front of you in the TV screen, that the only thing that you have to do is just sit and watch. You don't even have to imagine. The imagination part is already done for you by the director. Alright, so the color, everything that you need to have it moving like a movie in your mind is already visualized by someone else and is already put in front of a TV set for you to just sit and watch. So what does this do is that it makes your brain stop functioning. It makes your brain stop working, and this has been confirmed by many researchers also, that watching television and watching shows would only limit your imagination, your horizons, because see, your imagination is limitless. But what the director is trying to show on the television, alright, for the favorite book that you might have, you might just read. For me, when we were like children, we used to read a lot of adventure books. So that made us think what adventure would be. We romanticized the idea of adventure. We read a lot of tales on war and peace. So when we read that, it made us romanticize the idea of war. Okay, so it made us feel what great the soldiers might be that would be fighting on the forefront. But with every movies that the Hollywood make for every celebrated books, that would only limit the imagination. Okay, of course it's very nice to watch. Of course, when you want to watch a movie that is made out of your favorite book, I would always advise you to first read the book first, and then watch the movie later. So that is what the poet is also trying to tell us, that the children should read, because it restricts, if you don't read, it restricts your visual imagination, it restricts your brain. Your brain will just stop working and will just be relaxed and would always be waiting for the director to make the movie for you. Alright, so that is till lines number 33. So in the next video, I will be continuing with the further explanation of the poem. Alright, so thank you for listening. I'll see you in the next video.